Okay, this is a rant video, so be fairly warned. It contains my opinions. You are fairly warned on why I hate the 2010 reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm saying this while pretty exhausted, so kind of appropriate. So, first off, I want to make one thing clear, right? Just one thing. I was open to the reboot. I was open to it. I figured many of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels were really awful. The Dream Child was just bad, and Freddy's Dead was so terrible. I refuse to even consider it as canon. No. You can make your arguments, but it's not going to change the fact I will not accept it. It is that poor, idiotic, and just badly executed. Freddy versus Jason is his own continuity, and Freddy's Dead is Freddy's New Nightmare. New Nightmare is again its own continuity, its own universe. It's a meta horror film, but I genuinely hate the current Nightmare on Elm Street for one simple reason: it's boring, like severely boring. It was it had no sense of tension to it. There's no creep factor. Freddy Krueger, he's in your face every time you see him. You get a clear view of him, right? You watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and you barely see much of Krueger. When you do see him, he's mostly in the shadow. You get the suggestion of this horribly burned face, but you don't see him clearly until near the end. The rest of the time, it's like close above his lips or just a flash of him. Krueger is threatening in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but it falls into the fact that it could be just a bad dream. The original ending of A Nightmare on Elm Street was that Nancy wakes up, goes for a lovely day at school with her friends, everyone's alive. It was all just a bad dream. It was New Line Cinema which basically changed the ending and made that daft Freddy's not dead thing so they could do sequels, which to me was a bad idea because they could have literally done the original ending and still made a sequel. You don't need to tidy it up. They could have just brought Freddy back and made out that somehow he still exists, somehow he's still alive. But the 2010 reboot was just fucking awful. It was boring. It was dull. The dialogue was repetitive. I could guess what characters would say before they said it. I could seriously tell you what they were saying before they opened their mouths. The kills were just tedious. Nancy's mother. I remember the actor who plays Nancy's mother. I'm sure she was directed into this. Like, no ill will towards the actor. She was so wooden. I half expected her to spawn branches and leaves. I might as well have been watching a tree just because of how wooden she was. The new Nancy was, again, I'm no ill will towards the actor, but she didn't have the same inventiveness. She didn't have the same interest or cleverness as the original Nancy. She wasn't that bold. The reveal about Freddy actually being a child assaulter in this one is, well, it was theorized in the original, so it doesn't bother me too much. Making out that the parents were right in killing him, again, I quite like the unfairness factor because it makes clear he is a monster. They killed him, he became worse. It's fine. It adds to true horror in that. The horror of the bad people can get their revenge, but the good people can't protect themselves. It was heavily implied in the first movie there would be a good dream to deal with the bad. And the comics certainly reared into that, but unfortunately it was barely utilized in the movies. But they got a great casting in Jackie Earle Haley. He was a good choice to be Freddy Krueger, but they did nothing with him. And again, I'm pretty certain that was just direction. They directed him into making him very dull. He's not funny. He's not scary. He's not threatening. He doesn't even seem to have that rage in the first one. Like, again, you go back to the first film, Freddy makes these really off-color jokes, but he spends a lot of time chasing and laughing like a maniac. He is a monstrous maniac. And towards the end, his voice takes a "now you die" sort of voice. It's ridiculous, but it works. It works in a lot of ways because Freddy is as much an ideal as he is a monster, if that makes sense. He is a nightmare. Right? I get it. That Freddy is a nightmare. 2010 Freddy is a angry ghost. That's all he is. He is an angry ghost. He doesn't do nightmares. He just kills you in your dreams. That's it. It's not a nightmare that kills you. It's the evil ghost. And I found it to be incredibly dull, And that was offensive to me because how do you take this idea and make it boring? Just... But I could have forgiven it. I could have forgiven all of it because they implied he was innocent, and oh my god, I loved that. They could have made him innocent, at which point his revenge would have been justified. They could have literally have ended the film on the revelation that he was innocent. We got an innocent man killed. And now he's going to kill us. They could have ended the film with Nancy and Quentin realizing that they were doomed and they deserve it. Instead, they doubled down, Oh yeah, he abused those children. Oh yeah, his brother's children deserve to die. Which again showed to me how toothless the filmmakers were. And then they killed him with a cut to the neck. Didn't even decapitate him. It was a cut in the neck. And add into that, the sequel bait ending was worse. It was worse than the hacky job done in the original film. The CG looked ridiculous. I repeat, it looked worse than dragging a dummy through a window. How do you manage to screw up that badly? How? So, New Line Cinema, being the Torags that they are, they've decided that not to do any sequels, but make it quite clear that that version, the 2010 version of Freddy, is the current canon Freddy. Which no one likes. Like, some people might approve of Nightmare on Elm Street, and honestly, if you do like it, and if you do disagree with everything I've said, more power to you, all right? That's your opinion. This is mine. And you're allowed to be to have different opinions from myself. I get that. I'm fine with it. But I hate it. I hate it with a rage that, as of yet, I have not felt for any other film. And I have disliked a lot of films. Don't get me started on Halloween Resurrection. But I took the 2010 reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street as Just a boring, badly executed, boring, pathetic, boring, bad effects, badly acted. It was badly directed. It was terrible soundtrack. It was awful. I hate it. Okay, I'm better now. Boring. Sorry. So yeah, 15 years old, and this is me finally recording my thoughts on why I hated A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 reboot. Next time, have it rebooted by someone that knows what they're fucking doing.